From my house to yours, it's art with Mr. Hispanic. All right, friends, what we're going to be making right now is a printing plate. Here are most of the supplies that we're going to be making our printing plate with. I'm going to start off with what you see on the right-hand side. It's actually a cereal box. We're going to use that to actually build our printing plate. If you do not or cannot use a cereal box, you could find any kind of cardboard from a delivery. You could even use maybe a thicker cardboard type of paper. But I think this cereal box is probably the best choice because it's easy to cut. We're also going to need some foil. And the other smaller items, scissors, definitely going to need that. But let's talk about the tape and glue stick. Glue stick's the best choice. It's going to be used to glue the other pieces of cardboard on top of each other. If you don't have a glue stick, I'm going to say that this tape right here is probably the second best choice. If you cannot or do not have any kind of glue or tape, you can use nothing. And we're going to use that foil to hold down everything. Now let's get to the markers and pencils. Marker is probably the best choice because we're going to be drawing a picture for things to be cut out with on the cardboard. If you don't have a marker, try a pencil. If you don't have a marker or pencil, how about a pen? Just something to write or draw our picture on. So let's get to making our actual printing plate. So what I'm going to do is start taking our cereal box, and right on the corner here, I'm going to take my scissors and cut along the corner the best I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. All we want to do is just kind of get the most amount of flat area of this cardboard. It's going to be kind of tough when you get closer to the corners, but just work your way through. It doesn't have to take 5 seconds. It could take as long as you want because we need to make an awesome flat piece of cardboard. These corners are kind of rough. Rip it, do whatever you got to do. Doesn't have to be perfect. See, I'm going off the side a little bit. It's fine. Take this extra piece. We might need that for stuff later. Now, you could use this side or that side, doesn't matter. But what I'm going to do is actually take my cereal box and fold it in half. Line up the two edges. Now, if you do something like this, that doesn't look very straight, does it? So what I want to do is try my best to line up the edges, kind of like this, and then always double check on this side, make sure it's nice and straight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch and hold. And I show this to a lot of my students, and make sure it kind of looks like a raindrop. So I'm going to take it like this. I'm going to still hold on as tight as I can, right in the middle. I'm going to take my other hand, and I'm going to smush that down. And then fold it down, and I got a nice, awesome fold. I'm going to take that, and that's where I'm going to cut. That's going to be my cut line. Now you could take this piece, and this kind of has that weird little flap on it, so I think I'm going to use this for my extra pieces. But that's going to be my printing plate. I'm not too happy with the square, so I'm just going to kind of make it a little bit smaller. Make it more of a rectangle, like a smaller piece of paper. But if you can make that printing plate a little bit bigger than your hand, that's a good size. So that is what we need to do first. That right there is going to be the base for our printing plate. All right. This is that extra piece that we had. This isn't actually going to be the base. This is that piece that had the extra top on it. This is what we're going to be using to add to the printing plate. That's the stuff we're going to have to glue or tape or just place on and then hold it down with the foil later. So what I want you to do is basically draw a flower. It could be any kind of flower you want. Basically what we're going to do first, I like to draw the flower first. So I'm going to make a circle. And then this is the next important thing. We do not want our pieces to attach because it's almost going to be like a puzzle where the puzzle pieces don't touch. I'm going to make an oval here. Notice how these pieces of the flower do not touch each other. That's super important. Make sure none of these pieces touch each other. Notice I didn't even draw a stem yet. Just make your flower first. And it could be any kind of flower you want. There we go, that works. And then the stem, maybe I'll put the stem right here, but now watch this. Looks good, right? There's a problem though. We're gonna have to cut out all of these shapes. Unfortunately, I cannot just cut out one side or one line, excuse me. I need to make this thicker. Every single part of your flower must be a shape. It cannot just be a line. That means every single part, the stem, the leaves, every single part. So all I'm gonna do is make this a rectangle because I can cut out a rectangle pretty easy. I cannot cut out a line. And then I'm just gonna add a little more detail and I'm gonna make this awesome leaf shape. And notice it's not touching any parts. Now, after I have this all cut out, my next step is to cut out the actual flower. Finally got all the pieces cut out. What I want to do before I glue anything down is try to piece this all together so it starts looking like a flower so that I know when I put it on the printing plate, it's going to actually look like a flower. The one thing that I want to make sure of is not to have any parts touching each other like this. I don't want those things real close to each other. It's super important to leave space between each part. And I'll show you why it is super important. The next thing, maybe I'll put the leaf on this. I'm not sure what I want to do here. Maybe I'll put the flower. Like I said, you can just play with it. Which one works best? Which one looks the best to you? You can move around. That's the best part. Nothing's glued down yet. You can figure out what is the best solution. I kind of liking that right there. But I wonder, see that little line right there that I forgot to cut out? I didn't really do a good cut job. It's fine. Believe it or not, when we make our print, you're not gonna see any of that stuff. You're not gonna see the lines. Maybe I turn over like that, I'm like, oh, that looks really cool because it's yellow. I could turn over like this, right? And I see a cool, awesome yellow flower happening. But guess what? You're not gonna see that color when you make your print. The only time you're gonna see color is if you use yellow to make the print, or if you use green, or if you use a blue marker or a crayon. I'll get to talking about that in a few minutes. But don't worry about whatever you see on the stuff you cut out. You're not gonna see it. Your only thing you're gonna see are the shapes that you cut out. Now that I have a good idea about how my flower is going to look, now I need to actually build it on the plate. So I got the stuff to use to actually attach these pieces to this main printing plate. I'm gonna start off with the glue stick. I'm pretty sure you know how to use a glue stick. That's probably the best and easiest way. The next option, if you don't have any kind of glue, you could even use liquid glue, but if you don't have any kind of glue, tape is definitely the next option. I have this clear tape. You don't need clear tape. You could use painter's tape. You could use masking tape. You could use Scotch tape. Any kind of tape will work. We just need to make these stick to that. And if you do not have any kind of tape, if you do not have any kind of glue, it's okay. I will show you what you can do if you don't have any type of glue or tape. So let's get to the glue stick first. So when I was using the glue stick, I just glued down our stem, our leaf, and the middle part of my flower. It's pretty interesting now. I can actually feel the pieces actually higher than the other. That's what's going to actually make our print. But the one thing you notice, like, hey, Mr. S, you didn't have the stem showing yellow. That's because when I actually put my glue down, I didn't put the glue on the plate. You can if you want, but I always learned to always put the glue on the smaller piece. And whenever you want, if you want this part to be yellow, remember to always put the glue on the opposite side. So when you flip it over, you will have whatever color it is on your box. But whatever you put on, always try to put the glue on the smaller piece of paper and put it on the back, and then you could place it. Even if I want to do this, I'll say, that's pretty good. I'm gonna do it right there. Try to put it in the spot that you like, and then put the glue on and glue it down. So you can see, the glue works really well. This is held down pretty good. I can move it, it's not going anywhere. I didn't put a lot of glue. This paper's pretty light. But now, let me show you what to do if you don't have any kind of glue. Let's go with the tape. All right, so I just did 3 flower petals. Again, they're all attached. I could kind of feel around just like the glued pieces. But you notice that first time I did it, you'll see that I laid tape across the top. I wasn't a fan of that because that tape is gonna be a little bit higher than our printing plate, and then when we do our print, that tape's gonna show up. So I actually did the tape like the glue. Kind of put in like a little roll, or I kind of folded it together and taped it to the back so that it was taped or sticky on both sides. So I attached it to one piece, and then when I push down on it, it actually sticks. So I got 3 awesome pieces attached with tape, and I have 3 awesome pieces attached with glue. And you'll see that none of these pieces are touching each other because that is super important. Now, let's pretend I don't have any tape. I don't have any glue. What do we do now? This is where the foil comes in. All right. So I got my piece of foil, and you will see that the actual foil is bigger than the printing plate. That's pretty important because when we wrap the foil around over top of our awesome printing plate, we want this foil to attach. So we don't need to glue. We're just gonna kind of wrap it around, it'll stick better. So what I'm gonna do is take the other pieces that I have not either glued or taped, I'm gonna put them in position. So maybe I'll just do this so we can see a little bit better. I'm gonna put them all yellow. Doesn't matter. Put them all around our awesome flower, just so you can see them. And again, it doesn't matter. They could be brown just like the other pieces, right? You're not gonna see any of that stuff. I'm gonna take my foil, and I'm going to carefully, it's because we don't wanna move these around. These can easily move around. We don't want them to end up here. We want it to stay exactly where we put it. Now this is just because I do not have any glue or tape. If you have glue or tape, go for it. But if you don't, it's okay, and I'll show you why. You can take your foil, carefully place it over the top, and then carefully push down over top of our printing plate. Rub gently all the way from the inside out. And you can start seeing the outside edge of our printing plate over there. I'm not sure if the camera can pick that up, but I'm just carefully pushing down from the inside out with my thumb or my fingers. You can actually start seeing the pieces of the flower. If you look closely, you can see it. So I'm just carefully pushing down with my finger. I don't want to use my fingernails or the edges of anything sharp because foil is super fragile. It can rip easy, it can cut super easy. So I'm just carefully pushing down all of my flower petals that I did not glue. Even pushing down carefully over the flower petals I taped, pushing down around the flower stem. And now you can almost see the flower sticking out, right? Pretty cool. Now remember, these aren't attached, so I need to be super careful. I'm gonna pull these down. I'm gonna go and try my best to pick this up, and I'm going to wrap the foil around the back part. So I got the foil wrapped around the back. You can see our flower petals are still in place, and you can see on the back, it's just wrapped around just to kind of hold it. Now, the last thing, this is just an extra added bonus. If you have a pencil with an eraser, that's probably the best choice. You could also use your fingertips, but you do not want to use your nail because you do not want to rip this foil. So what I'm going to do is make a nice, crisp, clean, sharp edge for our printing plate. So I'm kind of going around. You can see I'm pushing down and almost tracing around this flower stem. This is going to help bring those edges out much better. And I'm going to go and trace around with the eraser. You can see I'm smushing down the foil around our actual, and you can see how much better that looks right there just by pushing down those edges against each other, because we want those edges. The better your edges are, the better your print will look. You can see I'm just going to hold down this flower stem right here. Go around right here. So you can see it looks definitely different when it's not glued or taped. Got a little guy right there. You might have to feel around a little bit before you actually do it. So remember, just trace around with your eraser. Around our middle part of the flower and this last flower petal. I'm gonna go around again just to make sure everything is in its place. I'm pretty happy with that. And now we got our awesome flower ready for print. Let's give this a shot. All right, with our printing plate, we're gonna be able to make as many pictures as you could imagine with this thing. You could change the colors, the color of the paper that you can use. I'm just gonna use white for now, just because it's easy. And you can see that I'm using crayons. You may have done this before, it's called a crayon rubbing. That's what we're gonna use. This is our plate. This is what we're gonna put the paper on top of, and we're gonna rub our crayon over top of this, and that will show on here with the colors that you use for your actual plate. So let's give this a shot. I'm going to put my white paper over top of my flower. Now you wanna make sure that it's not hanging off the side or crooked. You want to try to make sure that when this is nice and straight, carefully place it right over top. And you could use one color. You could use as many colors as you want. So I'm just going to start off with, I don't know, let's go with red. Let's just see what happens. Now, what works best is if you actually peel this paper off. But what I'm going to do first is show you how it will look without the paper peeled off the crayon. Now I just took the paper off my red crayon, and I'm going to show you how to do it by using the side. So basically it's laying the crayon on its side and rubbing back and forth, pushing down on the side of our crayon. So again, take my paper, put it in the middle. Make sure to hold the paper and the printing plate, because if the paper slides, the print may not look like how you want it to look. So I'm holding down. I can feel the printing plate right here with my finger. I'm going to use my other fingers to hold down the paper. I'm just going to lay my crayon down. I'm going to hold, push down, and rub back and forth. Now go in different directions. I'm going left and right, up and down, side by side. I'm just using my fingers. See, I'm holding the paper down because I don't want my paper to move. You can see that this, I think, works much better than using the edge of the crayon like you were going to color regularly. So I'm going left and right, up and down. You can see, even if I push down hard, this is where you want to push down hard. It actually makes a really good print. So this way you can actually push down hard. But if you use the edge of the crayon, I wouldn't suggest pushing down hard. So you can see there's definitely a different look to it. Pretty cool. I cannot wait to see your printing plates. You could use one color. You could use a bunch of colors. Maybe color the flower petals a different color. Try different things. I'm really curious. You can even, I was just thinking, what if I were to do this? I'm gonna move my printing plate out of the way. What if I were to draw the grass and then start coloring the grass? Something like this. Maybe I can color in the sky. Maybe I could add more flowers. Maybe I could add a house. Maybe I could add a rabbit or a bumblebee or butterflies. And you can see that there's lots of cool things that I can do here. I'm gonna maybe make another, like a tulip or something right here. So you could add even more stuff to your picture. Again, I cannot wait to see what you guys have. Do not forget to take pictures of your awesome artwork. Send it to my email. Send it to the Google Classroom. I have a folder for you. I cannot wait. Till next time, have a great week, friends.